Hello everyone. Welcome once again to Chem.top. Today I am starting a new chapter of class 10th, that is metals and non-metals. This is part 1 of this chapter. Topic covered in this part are definition and electronic configuration of metals and non-metals, physical and chemical properties of non-metals and metals, reactivity series of metals, reaction of metals with oxygen, water, dilute acids and salt solutions, comparison between metals and non-metals on the basis of physical and chemical properties. So let us start our chapter with the definition of metals, non-metals and metalloids. Now we know that elements are the purest substance and elements can be divided into three categories: metals, non-metals and metalloids. Now metals are the elements which are electropositive in nature. That means they readily lose electron and form positively charged ions or cations. For example, sodium, potassium, calcium, etc. Now, nonmetals are electronegative elements which gain electrons and form negatively charged ions or anions. For example, chlorine, bromine, oxygen, nitrogen, etc. Now, the third category is metalloids. There are some elements like silicon, germanium, arsenic, antimony. They are having characteristics of both metals and non-metals and they are known as metalloids. Now I am taking electronic configuration of metals and non-metals. Now if we observe the electronic configuration of element, then we can easily predict whether the particular element is metal or non-metal. Now how? Just see the outermost shell electron of the element. If the outermost shell electron, that is also called valence shell, contain 1, 2 or 3 electrons, then the elements are metals. Here exceptions are helium and hydrogen. Now, if the outermost shell of the element contain 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8 electron, then the element is considered as non-metal. Now look here, whenever element contain 1, 2 or 3 electrons, then it is easy to remove these electrons. That is why metals have tendency to lose electrons. And if metals have 5, 6, 7 electrons in their outermost shell, so it is easier to gain electrons. That is why they are form anions or negatively charged ions. Now let us take some example. First I am taking sodium. Symbol is Na, atomic number is 11 and the configuration is 281. See, the outermost shell electron is 1, hence it is called metal. Next is calcium. Symbol is Ca, atomic number 20, configuration is 2882, outermost shell electron 2, hence it is also a metal. Next I am taking sulfur. Symbol is S, atomic number 16, electronic configuration is 286, outermost shell electrons are 6, hence it is considered as non-metal. Now 6 electrons, so it has tendency to gain 2 electrons, hence it formed di-negative ion. Similarly, chlorine, atomic number is 17, symbol is Cl, configuration is 287, outermost shell electrons are 7. Because outermost shell electrons are 7, so to complete its octet it needs 1 electron, hence it is a non-metal. Now I am taking physical properties of metals and non-metals. First property is malleability. Now all the metals are malleable in nature. That means they can be beaten into thin sheets. Now this property of metals are very useful. For example, silver foils are used for decorating sweets, for packaging food, etc. Now here exceptions are sodium, potassium and calcium. On the other hand, non-metals are non-malleable or brittle. We cannot beat them into sheets because whenever we try to beat them, then they will, because they are brittle, so they will break. Now the next property of metals are that they are ductile, means that they can be drawn into thin wires. Example, copper wires are used for carrying electric current. Gold and silver are most malleable and ductile metals. Now here again exceptions are there, sodium, potassium and calcium. Now non-metals are non-ductile in nature. Third property is that metals are good conductor of heat and electricity. Silver is the best conductor, very important point, and lead is the poorest conductor, again important point. On the other hand, non-metals are poor conductor of heat and electricity. Here exception is graphite. Graphite is the allotropic form of carbon and it is a good conductor. That is why it is used as electrode in dry cells. Now look students, you have to learn the exceptions because exceptions are more important in physical properties. Now the next property is metals are generally hard. Exceptions है यहाँ पे sodium and potassium. They are so soft that they can be easily cut through knife. This is again a very important property. Now non-metals are generally soft. Again exception. Diamond is the hardest substance known. It is also allotropic form of carbon and it is hardest substance. So it is again very important point. Now the next property is metals are generally solid. Exception is mercury. Mercury is liquid at room temperature. Now there are two more metals, gallium and cesium, which is having low melting point. Whenever you keep them on your palm, then they absorb the heat of your palm and get converted into liquid form. But at room temperature, they are not liquid. So at room temperature, only mercury is the element which is a metal which is present as liquid. Now non-metals may be solid or liquid or gas. Solid non-metals के example है sulfur, phosphorus, silicon, LSEC. Now only liquid non-metal is bromine and the gaseous non-metals are oxygen, nitrogen, chlorine, etc. Now the next property is metals are having high tensile strength. Now what is tensile strength? The weight holding capacity without breaking. This is called tensile strength. So metals are having high tensile strength. Non-metals have low tensile strength. Now metals have high melting and boiling point. Again the exceptions are gallium and cesium. They are having very low melting point and hence they will be melt on your palm by absorbing the heat of your palm. On the other hand, non-metals have low melting and boiling point. Now the next is metals have high density. What is density? Mass per unit volume is density. So metals generally have high densities and non-metals have low densities. Now most of the metals are sonorous. That is means they produce ringing sound. Now you can see the school bell. It rings because it is made up of metal and produce ringing sound. That is they are sonorous. Now on the other hand, non-metals are non-sonorous. Now metals are lustrous. That means they are having shine on them and they can be polished. Non-metals are non-lustrous. Here exception is iodine. Iodine is solid non-metal and its crystal is shiny violet. Now the next topic is reactivity series of metal. Now what is reactivity series? Whenever metals are arranged in the decreasing order of their reactivity, starting with the highly reactive metal, this series is called reactivity series of metals. Now at the upper part, the most reactive metal is present and at the bottom, the least reactive metal is present. So potassium is the most reactive metal and gold is the least reactive metal in this figure. Now in between there is hydrogen. Hydrogen is not a metal but it is present in the series. Now what is the reason for this? Just listen. Hydrogen के ऊपर जितनी भी metals हैं, they are more reactive than hydrogen. So whenever these metals, that is potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, aluminium, zinc, iron and lead, which are more reactive than hydrogen, whenever they react with acid, they produce hydrogen gas because they are able to displace hydrogen from acids. But the metals which are present below hydrogen, that is copper, mercury, silver and gold, they are not able to displace hydrogen from acid, so they do not produce hydrogen gas when reacts with acid. This is very important point. Now the next I am taking chemical properties of metals. Now first is reaction with oxygen. Whenever metal reacts with oxygen, they form metal oxides. Now these metal oxides are basic in nature. How we confirm that they are basic in nature? Just dissolve metal oxide in water and test it with red litmus paper. The red litmus paper turns blue. This proves that metal oxides are basic in nature. Now all the metals do not react with oxygen with same rate because the rate of reaction depends on the reactivity of metal. So I am starting with the most reactive metal, that is sodium and potassium. Because they are very reactive, so they react vigorously with oxygen and the reaction is so much exothermic that it catches fire. The equation is sodium Na plus O2 gives Na2O, that is sodium oxide. Now that is why we keep the sodium and potassium under kerosene in the laboratories, because they are highly reactive. If we keep them in air, then they react with atmospheric oxygen and explosion may take place. Similarly, we cannot keep them in water because they also react with water to produce explosion. That is why they are kept under kerosene, and this is very important question. Now the next metal, iron. Iron does not burn even on heating. But if we take iron fillings, that is iron in powdered form, these iron fillings burn vigorously when sprinkled in the flame. Now the next is silver and gold, which are less reactive metals. They do not react with oxygen even at high temperature because of their low reactivity. Now copper does not burn, but it reacts with oxygen to form black colored copper oxide. So the reaction is Cu plus O2 gives CuO. Now aluminium, magnesium, zinc and lead, these metals are having oxide layer on their surfaces, and this oxide layer protect them from further oxidation. For example, whenever aluminium exposed to air, it forms a layer of aluminium oxide, so it protects the aluminium from further oxidation. Now a term is used, anodizing. Now what do you mean by anodizing? This is very very important. It is the process. देखो naturally एक aluminium oxide की layer तो aluminium surface पे form हो ही जाती है, but अगर हम एक थिक कोटिंग करवा देते हैं एल्यूमिनियम ऑक्साइड की किसी भी मेटल पे, मोस्टली ऑन एल्यूमिनियम बट इट मे बी ऑन जिंक और magnesium. So whenever a thick coating of aluminum oxide is formed over the surface of the metals like aluminium, zinc or magnesium to protect them from corrosion, this process is called anodizing. और ये electricity pass करने से होता है. Now the next is, most of the metal oxides are insoluble in nature, but sodium oxide and potassium oxide readily soluble in water and form alkali, that is sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide. Now what do you mean by amphoteric oxide? I already told you that metal form basic oxide. Generally metal form basic oxide, but there are some metals which form amphoteric oxide. Now what are amphoteric oxide? This is very very important. 5 markers में ये पूरा question पूछा जाता है. So first of all, what is amphoteric oxide? Some metal oxides show both acidic and basic behavior, and such oxides are called amphoteric oxide. Now two examples of amphoteric metals which form amphoteric oxide are aluminium oxide and zinc oxide. These two are examples of amphoteric oxide. Now how we prove that these oxides are amphoteric in nature? So these are two reactions which prove it. First is reaction of aluminium oxide with acid. Here aluminium oxide reacts as base. Now whenever Al2O3 reacts with acid, it converts it into aluminium chloride and water, that is salt and water is formed. Now whenever Al2O3 reacts with NaOH, here Al2O3 acts as acid. Hence when it reacts with base NaOH, it forms NaAlO2, that is sodium aluminate, along with the formation of water. So the question, 5 marker question में क्या आएगा आपका? That what are amphoteric oxide? So you have to give the definition. Name two metals which form amphoteric oxide. So aluminium and zinc, they form aluminum oxide and zinc oxide respectively. Then give two reactions to prove the amphoteric nature of these oxides. So you have to give these reactions. Now the next reaction of metal is reaction with water. Whenever metal reacts with water, it produces metal oxide and hydrogen gas, and sometimes these metal oxide further reacts with water to produce metal hydroxide. So the product of a reaction may be metal oxide or metal hydroxide. Now again, all the metals do not react with water with the same rate. Sodium and potassium reacts with cold water so vigorously that the evolved hydrogen immediately catches fire. Reaction is Na plus H2O gives NaOH plus hydrogen gas. Now calcium reacts less vigorously and less heat is evolved so that the liberated hydrogen do not catch fire. Now one more thing to be noted here, that calcium stick to the bubbles of hydrogen gas and floats on the surface of water. So reaction is Ca plus H2O gives CaOH whole twice plus H2. And why calcium floats on the surface of water? This is very very important question, because some calcium attach with or stick with the bubbles of hydrogen gas, and along with the hydrogen bubbles it will float on the surface of the water. Similarly, magnesium also floats on the surface of water. Magnesium does not react with cold water, it reacts with hot water and form magnesium hydroxide and hydrogen gas. Magnesium when reacts with water, hot water, and it forms magnesium hydroxide and hydrogen gas. Now, magnesium also stick to the bubbles of hydrogen gas and start floating on the water, as I already explained you. Now, the next metals, aluminium, iron and zinc, they do not react either with hot water or with cold water, but it reacts with steam to produce metal oxide and hydrogen gas. The reaction is aluminium plus H2O gives Al2O3, iron plus H2O gives Fe3O4. Fe3O4 is the mixed oxide of iron, and zinc plus H2O gives zinc oxide. Now, the lead, copper, silver and gold, they are least reactive metal and they do not react with water at all. Now the next is reaction of metals with dilute acids. Metals which lie above hydrogen in the reactivity series, they react with acid to produce hydrogen gas. But the metal which are present below the hydrogen do not react with acid to produce hydrogen gas. So metal reacts with acid to produce metal salt plus hydrogen gas. Now sodium and potassium are most reactive metals, so they react vigorously to produce more bubbles of hydrogen gas. For example, Na plus HCl gives sodium chloride plus hydrogen gas. Magnesium plus HCl gives MgCl2 plus hydrogen gas. Now, copper do not produce any hydrogen gas. Why? Because it is less reactive than hydrogen. Now, there is an acid which do not produce hydrogen when react with metal, and that acid is nitric acid. Nitric acid do not produce hydrogen gas with metal because nitric acid is a strong oxidizing agent and it oxidizes the produced hydrogen into water. Now there are two metals, that is magnesium and manganese. These metals when reacts with very dilute HNO3, then hydrogen gas is produced. Now children, this is very important question. Three questions are there. First question is name the acid which do not give hydrogen gas with metal. So the answer is nitric acid. Second question is why HNO3 do not produce hydrogen gas with metals? Because HNO3 is good oxidizing agent and hence it oxidizes the produced hydrogen into water. The third question is name any two metals which give hydrogen gas with HNO3. So the answer is manganese and magnesium. Now the next is aqua regia. First of all, what is aqua regia? It is a mixture of concentrated nitric acid and concentrated hydrochloric acid in the ratio of 1:3. 1 part HNO3 and 1 part HCl. Now almost all the metals are soluble in aqua regia, so it is an excellent solvent. Now it is also called royal water as it can dissolve gold and platinum in it, which is very less reactive metals. Now some dishonest jeweler use this aqua regia for dissolving precious metals like gold, platinum and silver by faking them for cleaning. Now the next is reaction of metals with salt solution. This is displacement reaction actually. We know that the more reactive metal displaces the less reactive metal from its salt solution. So the metal present above the reactivity series can displace the metal present below it. Now example I am taking, when iron reacts with copper sulfate. You know that iron is above the copper. So iron is more reactive than copper and it displaces the copper from its salt solution. So the reaction is iron when reacts with blue colored copper sulfate solution, it forms iron sulfate plus copper. Now two observation. The first observation is that the blue color of copper sulfate fades gradually and the green color of FeSO4 appears. And the second observation is brown colored granules of copper deposited over iron. So these are the two observations. This is again very important reaction. Reaction भी पूछी जाती है और observations भी पूछे जाएंगे. Now the next example is when copper reacts with silver nitrate. Silver nitrate is colorless. When copper reacts with it, it converts into blue colored copper nitrate along with the formation of solid silver. Now let us start the differences in the chemical properties of metals and non-metals. Now children remember one thing, जब भी कभी आपसे difference पूछा जाएगा metals and non-metals में, तो just read the question very carefully कि आपसे क्या पूछा गया है. अगर सिर्फ आपसे पूछा गया है give any two differences between metals and non-metals, then you can give the physical property difference or chemical properties difference, no problem in that. But if in the question it is asked that give the difference in the metals and non-metals on the basis of their chemical properties, then you have to give the differences from chemical properties only. So let us start the differences in the chemical properties of metals and non-metals. So first I am starting nature. So metals are electropositive in nature because they form positive ions or cations by losing electron. Now non-metals are electronegative in nature because they form negative ions or anions by gaining electron. Now the second is reaction with oxygen. Whenever metal reacts with oxygen, they form metal oxide, which are basic in nature or sometimes amphoteric in nature. Now on the other hand, whenever non-metal reacts with oxygen, they form oxide which are either acidic in nature or neutral in nature. Now I am taking example, carbon plus oxygen gives CO2, which is acidic in nature. How you will prove that it is acidic in nature? You just dissolve this in water and you get the acid, and this acid turns blue litmus red, which proves the acidic nature. Now some nonmetals form neutral oxide like hydrogen. Hydrogen when reacts with oxygen, it forms water, which is a neutral oxide. Now the third is reaction with water. Metal reacts with water to form oxides or hydroxide along with the evolution of hydrogen gas. Reactions we already studied. Now reactions of nonmetals with water, they do not react at all with water. Next is reaction of metals with dilute acid. With dilute acid, metal produce hydrogen gas, we already know. Now non-metal do not react with acid to produce hydrogen gas. Now the next point is reaction with salt solution. Now a more reactive metal displaces the less reactive metal from its salt solution. For example, iron when react with copper sulfate form FeSO4 plus copper, as iron is more reactive than copper. Similarly, a more reactive nonmetal can displace a less reactive nonmetal from its salt solution. For example, sodium iodide is salt solution, and chlorine when reacted with chlorine, it form NaCl and iodine. Here chlorine is more reactive than iodine, so it displaces iodine from sodium iodide. Now the next is reaction with chlorine. Metal reacts with chlorine to form chlorides which are ionic in nature. For example, Na plus Cl2 gives NaCl. NaCl is ionic in nature. Now whenever non-metal reacts with chlorine, they form chlorides which are covalent in nature. For example, phosphorus when react with chlorine, it forms phosphorus trichloride, which is covalent in nature. Covalent compounds we will study in the 4th chapter. The compounds which are formed by the sharing of electrons are called covalent compounds. Now reaction of hydrogen. Reaction with hydrogen. Now metal reacts with hydrogen to form ionic hydride. Na plus H2 gives sodium hydride. Now whenever non-metal reacts with hydrogen, they form covalent hydride. For example, phosphorus when reacts with hydrogen, it forms PH3, that is phosphorus trihydride. Now the next is reducing action. Metals are good reducing agent as they are having tendency to lose electron, while non-metals are good oxidizing agent because they have tendency to gain electrons. Hope you like the video. If you find it useful, please hit the like button and check the description box for the links of chapter 1 and chapter 2, and subscribe my channel so that you will get the notifications for my upcoming videos. Thank you.